Welcome to the Stay Paid podcast, where we help agents and entrepreneurs master the latest business trends to unlock growth and create a life of freedom. Brought to you by Reminder Media.
Welcome to Stay Paid. My name is Joshua Stike.
And I'm Luke Acree.
And before we bring on our panel of guests today, we'd love it if you take a minute to subscribe to Stay Paid on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to drop us a review there while you're there.
And share it because
Yeah.
Instagram, especially if you're on Instagram, share the clips that we do because the CEO of Instagram said sharing is the number one factor of pushing content in the algorithm.
Sharing number one factor.
Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. And speaking of Instagram, I'm going semi-viral again, boys.
I saw that.
I'm going semi-viral. I call it semi-viral because, 500,000 views and 1 million views is not even viral anymore. But yeah, that Chick-fil-A post that I put up is like Peter Ducey.
Yeah,
not everybody knows
there's
I
a lot
watch.
of hate in that.
Yeah, there's a lot of hate in that. A lot of people hate. I was reading the comments last night to
like,
Megan.
what the heck?
They were hilarious. Like,
I love some of your responses, though. It's like, well, which part was BS? The part
yeah.
where Chick-fil-A makes more money than everyone else,
Yeah.
that they have great service.
it's like this, the clip is Peter Ducey from Fox News. I mean, now everybody knows I watch Fox News. There you go. My political views. But Peter Ducey actually was like the real as well. And I was like, I'm going to comment on him. And yeah, it's like, cause he's like one of the big guys, I guess, on
amazing.
on Fox News. I thought that was funny, but on TikTok, it's like 1.4 million views now.
There we go. We're back.
Yeah, there we go. And then
Sharing
Instagram, I think it's like 500,000 or something like that. So semi-viral. That's my proud moment of the day.
You're so awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Cody. I was looking for that.
all
That's
you
what I
wanted.
needed. I just needed the praise.
Well, on our panel today, we have, as always, from the number one team, real estate team in Lynchburg, Virginia, we have Stephen Acree and Cody Smith. Welcome, gentlemen.
What's up, guys?
What up?
And our special guests today are the two co-founders of WealthFeed, an AI platform that provides real-time money-in-motion data, empowering financial advisors to grow their book of business and increase client retention. Ryan Folts, co-founder and head of sales, and Sam Kendree, co-founder and president. Welcome, gentlemen.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be here.
Excited. Good stuff, guys.
Yes, it is great to have you guys on the show. I'm excited for today's topic. So I want to ask you guys this question. This is a question we got from listeners. And feel free, anybody can answer it. But we've made hundreds of thousands of cold calls here at Reminder Media. And I know, Steven, you and the team there have made tens of thousands of cold calls. I'm assuming Rylan and Sam, you guys have done a bunch of cold calling starting the business that you're doing. Is cold calling dead? Because people are saying that over and over again, that cold calling is a waste of time and dead. Do you guys find cold calling is dead?
That is our business right now. So I would say no, absolutely not.
When you say no, absolutely not, why?
Yeah. So, I mean, the big thing is, and if we take it back to AI, and I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts, Rylan and Sam, but if we take it back to AI, I actually get AI calls all the time. And I think like we're just in a day and age where people want authenticity. And I don't know about anybody else. Someone can speak to this, but like when I hear an AI in the background, I immediately know it's AI. Right. And so there's just no connection there. Now, maybe it will get better over time and, we'll start using it more, but it's just the authenticity level. And then real estate, too, is like very much a relationship game. And so it's like it's not. It's a matter of follow up and relationship with the person to get the transaction anyways, right? So you're never going to win. You can't sell a house over the phone, right? If I call someone up, it's not the same as you guys' sales cycle with Reminder Media. So maybe that would be a little bit different. It is a longer term, sales cycle.
But when
I mean, we got like 8 appointments last week just from cold calling, like
just from cold calling.
So
see, what's interesting there, and maybe it'd be interesting to hear your guys' take, Rylan and Sam, is like you said, cold calling's not dead. It's how we're getting appointments, but the sale is relationship driven. And I think that is the pain point for people. They go, well, why are you cold calling somebody when you can just focus on relationships? Because you just said relationships are, you're not going to close somebody from cold calling, so why do it?
well, how do you start it? How do you start the relationship? And that's what that's doing. You're just starting a relationship with someone you don't know.
Some would say, right, being devil's advocate, some would say you can do it better just talking to your sphere, or let's take, social media is all the rage today. Just post content and connect with people on social. It's a better, more effective way. What have you guys seen?
Yeah. I mean, I would say, there's several different ways you can do it. It doesn't mean that one is wrong or one is bad. Like, we've talked to several people on the podcast that do it a different way, do it social media, Instagram, whether it's like focus on sphere and client events, which we do, all those things. But for us, especially when I think you're trying to acquire new properties as well, in addition to just selling real estate, but also acquiring properties, you've got to meet people that you don't know in order to do that.
And BAM, I don't know if you saw this post, Luke, on July 4th, but it was really good by BAM. And I think it relates back to this, where they posted and they said, stop, posting these template July 4th post, right? Like post something that is actually about your life, right? Because people want to be in relationship with you. I think all of these, again, it just goes back to authenticity. I think people are recognizing, because of the amount of content that's out there, they're recognizing immediately much quicker when it's not a real person, when it's not a real value add, right, posted out there. And so that's why I get back to that.
Well, and everyone needs to pick their pillar, right? Like you need to figure out what you are good at. Some people are really great at social media, client events. They do them every month, drop off Popeyes, like all those things are good. I don't think it's necessarily a negative, just like cold calling is not a negative. It's another way to do it. And there's nothing wrong with any of those. But what you do need to do is pick one and go at it and go all in.
Thoughts, Sam or Rylan?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, like Cody said, your circle and your sphere is great, but it's also constrained. Like you only have, I mean, Luke, you have 20 or 30 aunts and uncles. Yeah. But we only have 5 or 6, right? So you kind of run out of family at some point. So I think that's the good part about cold calling is it's unconstrained. But also, you're able to put a voice on it. You're able to be authentic. And email marketing is just so, it's tough now. Everyone's emails are just flooded, right? So
agree.
It's like 10 years ago, that was probably a really good route to get in front of someone. Nowadays, it's, really hard to make any progress by email marketing. So
yeah,
you're lead you with direct mail or cold calling, right? And I think the combination of the two of those is powerful.
Agree. I think you're hitting the nail on the head from one perspective. Is it's the reality with all other types of marketing is it's very passive, and you run out of like, let's say you post on social. Okay, that took you 5 minutes. Let's say you write an email. Okay, that took you 10 minutes. Well, you still have 7 hours and 40 minutes left in your day. What are you going to do with that to actually go get business? And I think that's kind of the concept is like you look at your day and you go, it's not that like you're saying, Cody, social is better or cold calling is better. It's that you have 8 hours in a day. So in a day, what can you do to prospect to get business? Okay, go post on social, but how many posts can you do on social? You're going to sit there twiddling your thumbs, waiting for the business. Cold calling is something that is proactive that you can do. And even though, honestly, it does suck, because this is someone who makes thousands of phone calls a day across our sales floor. It does suck. It is not very efficient. But in terms of what else you can do to grow the business, we're spending millions on social media advertising. We're pumping out tons of content like Stay Paid. We are doing all these other avenues, but yet if we left cold calling, we would not close 25,000 plus new clients.
You mentioned email, Sam, and there's like a big I was reading an article the other day. There's a huge boom in terms of like where the investment dollars are going in cold emails. But even that, it's all automated. Right. So we have this system that will automatically warm up emails. It'll automatically warm up IPs. It'll automatically, then you load in your data and all of that's going and you have all of the copy and everything pre-written. So even that is a much more hands-off marketing approach.
Agree. So you guys have made tens of thousands of phone calls like us. Like, Rylan, what's your number one tip when it comes to cold calling that you find? Like if you were training a salesperson?
Yeah, no, look, I think the first 10 seconds is the most important piece. Like we see this a lot with calling financial advisors. I think you have someone's attention and when I pick up the phone, I listen for 5 seconds and then I'm either hanging up, I think it's spam, or I'm continuing to be intrigued. So I think it's that hook that in the first 10 seconds, you really need to dig. And from our point of view, we make a lot of outbound calls once we're like approved through a channel, especially through the wealth management channel. And I think it kind of, you need to break the barrier. You almost have to create that relationship relatively quick to say, hey, one, I'm not a spam caller. This is a real call, and two, I'm a real person, and there's some sort of connection we can make within the 10 seconds, whether it's, hey, I know you went to XYZ University, or, to break the barrier, or of, what we do is saying like, hey, we just got approved at XYZ firm. Like,
so it's like you're using a leverage point to get someone to pay attention. That's funny because it's very similar with Reminder Media. We teach our people in the intro 2 things that matter. It's your tone or your energy going into the call. How are you different, or how do you come across? And then number 2, which is even more important almost than energy, is what is the leverage point that you're going to drop to intrigue someone's curiosity? So for us, it's easy. We can drop a firm's name. Hey, we just got approved with LPL, or, a person we work with Sam in your office, but maybe you don't have those leverage points. You can go on someone's LinkedIn, or you can get data to go, okay, this person has these things about them. So in real estate, it's the address they own. Or there's a listing that's sold just on their block that you can, hey, I don't know if you saw your neighbor just right 2 doors up from you at 323 First Avenue. Yeah. They actually just sold. And it's like a data point that sparks leverage for them. What about you, Stephen and Cody? Like, what is your number 1 cold calling tip?
Yeah, mine is attitude. So you look at the people on the team, which goes back to the energy, and it also goes back to the first, seconds of the call, because you have to get them engaged. But we have someone on our team, Carson, that, his energy level is so high. And when you're in person, it might feel a little bit higher than it should. But we actually had another person on our team years ago, and she was the same way. And on the phone, it sounds so like almost even keeled, right, with their energy level so high. And if you can keep someone on the phone, then it's fact finding, obviously, knowing the pain points.
But do you guys teach match and mirroring, where he'll go in low and match the person and then pace up, or does he go in super hot?
Well, he actually goes in super hot. And like when we were on our call night last Thursday, he set 8 appointments. And everyone else, 3. Yeah, the next highest was 3. Jeez. And you listen to his calls and you watch him. It is impressive, and it's because that energy is so high.
So what you're saying is, if you're teaching matching and mirroring, you're doing it wrong. Because matching and mirroring is mirroring the person's tone,
which is what we teach. But Carson is also very good of like connecting, and he's a salesman to a T. His dad was a salesman, so it's what he's known his whole life. So he's just naturally good at talking with people. So I wouldn't use that as like a general rule of thumb, but he just does it really well. Because our biggest coaching is like, especially when he first started, was like it came off so salesy. I was like, you've got to trim that down to be a little bit more relational. Which he's worked on and has got a lot better at. So, but his energy is higher.
When you say relational, though, just so I can dig a little deeper there, like you can't build a relationship in 2 minutes, like, or 30 seconds on an intro. So are you referencing what Rylan is saying, which is drop data points about the person, or ask questions?
If you're really good, you're going to be able to drop data points, and you're going to understand how to get to their pain points, which you can solve, right? And what we always talk about is bring your energy up as soon as you know their motivation, right? So like when I first started, I was exactly like Carson, and that's what got me so many deals. Now I'm a lot better, and I actually do believe in the mirroring and matching, right? Until I ask them the right questions, till I get their motivation. And that's when my energy spikes, because everyone wants you to be excited about what they're excited about. And that's really what closes the deal. He's just really good because he's not as good at the questions right now. And so people want to see your passion, your authenticity, your love for the business. Yeah. And I think he does that really well with his energy super high.
Okay. And the relational part I'm talking about, because like our intro, we always get a response. So it's just, hey, this is Cody with Acre Brothers. How are you? Awesome. I got a message saying you were looking at houses and want to know if you found the house you were looking for. So it's a no or yes, and empowers them. Most likely more people want to say no than they do yes. So when they say no, okay, awesome. What house were you looking for? And then from there, you're starting to build a relationship with those questions. So I was looking for a 3-bedroom. Oh, awesome. So it sounds like you have a partner or kids that you're moving with. Yeah, I've got a wife. Oh, awesome. Did you guys meet here in Lynchburg or are you? And then I'm just diving in from there on relational questions to find out the house questions.
Love that.
Because it's more of a care than about the house. And then it turns into just a friend call that you never met me before.
Yeah.
So Sam and Rylan, you guys, like your business, and we'll get into that in a second for people listening, you basically provide leads for financial advisors, real estate agents even. And the whole concept is you're giving them more targeted leads based upon data that you're sourced on people. When you are teaching advisors and people to call these leads, what are you finding in your experience? Like, are you teaching them to leverage up on the data, like where they went to school? Like, can you walk us through what you think about when you think about the list and what makes your lead list valuable?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's kind of twofold, Luke. So one is first on the data side. So for us, when we're calling financial advisors to use our platform, if we call a 75-year-old financial advisor who's about to retire, not looking to grow, they're not going to be interested in, what we're selling. But if we call a 30-year-old who's hungry, wants to grow their book of business, that's right up our alley for them to utilize our platform. And it's the same exact thing on the flip side of what our platform's providing. So we're doing all money in motion, real-time money in motion prospects for financial advisors. So individuals who just sold a business, bought a new house, moved to a new state, those types of money in motion events that cause them to need financial services. So what we teach our advisors is first to get super niche down on the data. So if they went to Arizona State University, for example, they're going to have a higher conversion rate reaching out to alumni from ASU rather than, someone else. If they work with a lot of folks who work at Boeing and they know their 401k plans, they know the life cycle of their careers, they're going to have more success reaching out to prospects that work at Boeing. So that's kind of the first thing that we teach them is get extremely niche down. And then the second thing on the cold calling and outreach is really kind of lead with some sort of direct mail and get that name and brand recognition. Do that a couple times and then make that intro phone call where it's, hey, I sent you a magazine or a note card, 2 months ago or a month ago, and just want to check in and see if you got it. I want to introduce myself and my firm. So that's on, what we teach them is get niche down on the data and then lead with direct mail before calling.
So Rylan, like when you are teaching the advisor, right, to nurture the lead, what do you see in terms of like time frame that it takes to actually convert? Because I think that is always the rub in any lead generation strategy as a business owner is I know I need to generate leads. I know I need to stay consistent, but how long should I give this lead before I basically move on to the next category? What are you guys seeing from your like nurturing standpoint of how long you give it?
Yeah, no, that's great. And I think you got to set expectation. I think in any business, the quicker conversion everyone's seeking. But, through our platform, it's really a lead for life. And I kind of always frame this saying, hey, if you find someone that's, let's say I'm an advisor, it's high net worth, he lives in my neighborhood, he went to my school, I'm already niched down. And I send him, 3 or 4 messages. Maybe it's a direct mail piece, an email, and I call and he doesn't answer. It's not necessarily throwing that lead out and going searching for new leads. There needs to be a point where you're saying, hey, this is my niche. I want to stick with it and I'm going to double down. And that prospect's a lead for life. He might not convert today, but what about in 6, 12 months? I think the number is someone needs to see your brand 7 times just for them to remember the name of it. So it's important, like frequency is the most important thing. And what I kind of preach for advisors is saying, hey, it's never a spray and pray method. It's niche down initially, and then it's nurture through that campaign. And it doesn't stop, after 2, 3, 4 months. This is a lead for life that you really need to keep on nurturing, sending invitations from events, continue on email campaigns, direct mail, kind of all channels to really find success. So it just depends. And those that are nurturing for longer have just more success that we've seen.
Yeah, I agree. It's like on average, I think for real estate, it's like 14 months for a transaction to come to fruition. I wonder what the stat is in financial advising. I'm not sure off the top of my head. I wouldn't be surprised if it's similar, that it takes somebody at least a year and a half almost to get comfortable enough with you where you've built that frequency and that brand trust to earn their business. It's like, to me, I guess, like honing in is to go, okay, when you listen to this stuff as an audience member, because I listen to a ton of podcasts, it's like everybody knows, okay, you got to nurture the lead. You got to stay on top of the lead. Everybody knows you got to bring good energy. Why are people still not doing it?
Because I think, Luke, it's just they don't know what problem they're solving. So I think like we just come into a day and age where it's like cold call, but no one knows the value that they're actually providing. And for me, the longer I've been in the business, the more I'm like realizing it all boils down to money. If you can understand the biggest motivator for people, then you're going to win, because all you have to do is lead them to a point where they say it. Right. So like for us, like I always talk to our team about like saying the deal, you know what I mean? Like the deal's going to be the biggest motivator. How would you like to make money? A lot of money, Luke.
A lot. I would like that a lot.
Yeah, that's what I help with. You know what I mean?
Like that.
Do you got 2 minutes where I can share with how you can make, a lot of money on your next transaction, right? Because everyone wants it. If you know that and you go into that and you speak to that with passion and excitement.
To try to interpret that, because here's what I'm hearing. Are you saying people they don't take Rylan's advice there because the adversity and how hard it is to pick up that phone and call the Sam lead that he sold me, even though he went to ASU, it's like having to deal with that rejection or objection or whatever. It's like not worth it because I don't actually feel confident in my service that I'm providing.
Absolutely. It's that. And it's like they think that it's all about the data on the initial, like, so you mentioned like they went to a certain university and all that stuff. We all care, but we all know it's bull crap if we care about that and don't care about the money side of things, right? It's not authentic, right? Because like people can they can smell it, you know what I mean? When you're just trying to, keep a conversation going with trying to give them bullet. I don't know you. I'd like to know you, right? And I'm putting in my due diligence to show you that I know you through knowing that you went to a certain university.
It's a great way to frame it.
But it's bull crap to say that I don't want a transaction. I'm just super upfront with people. Like I want the transaction, but I want you to win. So I care about you. I've got all these data points. I care so much about you. But I also want to make money and you want to make money, right? So this is great. This is a great relationship because I care about you. I'm integral, right? In that sense, I'm a relationship driven, but we want to make some money together. And I think if people can understand like the value proposition that they're giving and not, make it bull crap that it's just about the knowing that they went to university, the relationship side, if you can bring those two pieces together, then you'll win. But people don't believe in their value proposition, which is why they don't follow up, because that person gives them adversity, like you said, when they're talking to them. Well, that's great. You know me, but why are we talking? You know what I mean? You got to bring those
Grant
things
Cardone
together.
teaches something very similar but he says it, he frames it in the way that says state your intention. Yeah. Like state your intention. Don't dance around the point of your intention. I want to earn your business. I want to sign you up as a client. And we try to do that through Reminder Media, though we probably don't do it the best. It's like state your intention of the call. So let's transition. Let's get into, I want to hear you guys' story, Sam and Rylan, so the audience can get to know you guys a little bit. And let's talk more about kind of the list and the leads that you provide, because you guys are doing something basically that allows people to target down and get more quality leads. But can you share a little bit of why you started the company and how you got into it, how long you've been doing it?
Yeah, definitely. I could go, and then Sam would love to hear your side as well. So kind of what we realized from personal kind of experience is organic growth and lead generation is so challenging. So my background, I was a financial advisor for about 5 years, kind of right out of college. So I was a young guy trying to build my book of business. I started in the wirehouses. So I was under JP Morgan, which is a lot of the wirehouses, it's great to start in because they have great lead flow. And so a little bit kind of background on the wirehouses, like the Morgan Stanleys, the JP Morgans, the lead flow comes from commercial, retail banking. Someone deposits $1 million. Hey, we need the wealth management team to give a call to this guy. A lot of lead flow comes through the investment bank, someone selling a business, going through a merger. But kind of what we see and what I did is a lot of people are shifting out of the wirehouses. So they're leaving UBS's, JP Morgan's, and they're going independent. So I kind of did a similar route. I went independent where I'm from, back out in Scottsdale, Arizona. And you really notice when you're moving independent that the lead flow dries up. And so when I moved independent, you're kind of left with your brand that no one knows of. You're more boutique and it's a lot better for that end client, but you're left with, okay, how can I generate leads? And I didn't have a rich family or a big kind of network. And so it's like, hey, I got to start getting in front of more people. And the more time I was struggling and striking out, I realized, hey, it's never random for someone to become my client or to really join the firm. It really always stemmed from some sort of money in motion event. And that's kind of what that means, is some sort of life event that really triggers them to be like, now's the time to seek financial guidance. Like now, like I want to talk to someone. And that life event could be having a baby, inheriting money, moving to a new state, any sort of where we say money in motion, it kind of refers to just some sort of trigger in their head to be like, okay, I need to do something. I need to figure this money part out. And us noticing that and feeling like there's no platform out there to easily identify this is really kind of why we created WealthFeed. Because how I was finding like money in motion, I was spending hours and we could get into how AI is saving tons of time. And I think that's one of the best benefits of AI now is giving back your time.
Agreed.
I was looking at Zillow, who's buying homes. Okay. Finding that individual, going on LinkedIn. Okay. He's from Chicago. He's moving to Arizona. I was spending hours generating a list. And that's what we really wanted to solve is how can you identify your audience, build a niche in seconds. And so you're saving time on that initial step. And that initial step is, who do I reach out to? So we kind of, my experience from it is from personal challenges of kind of why creating WealthFeed, but I'll let Sam chime in on his background as well.
Yeah, so similar background to Rylan. Worked at a wealth advisory firm in Chicago for about 5 years and did M&A on the West Coast. And every single firm that we acquired, organic growth is, number one. And it's interesting because we kind of lived in the real estate space and the financial service space with Catalyze, as you know, Luke, Josh, Steve, and Cody. So, what we realize is real estate agents, there's 10, 15, 20 lead generation platforms for them to identify, who should I be reaching out to? On the financial service side, there is nothing. And that's kind of our bread and butter. Our network is primarily financial advisors. And like Rylan said, everyone was kind of doing this on a one-off. So they were looking at SEC Form 4s to figure out who was selling insider shares of public companies because now they're coming into liquidity. They were trying to identify on PitchBook what companies sold to figure out who came to liquidity. Like Rylan said at JP Morgan, he was looking at who was buying homes in Naples, Florida over $5 million and trying to back into who's this prospect. So that's really what our platform does, and why I think advisors are loving it and having success is because they can identify all those extremely high value opportunities in a matter of seconds at a relatively cheap price, because we are utilizing AI to kind of democratize all that public data.
Yeah, that's where AI is so beneficial. Like if you can just get the data in front of you, you can win. But I think you're gonna win through cold calls, but it's the data that you need. I love that.
So one of the aspects of your platform that I absolutely think is a genius is the inheritance side aspect. Can you speak to that a little bit of you guys actually identify basically who died and the next of kin?
Yeah, no, I think and I see it, you guys probably see it all over CNBC. I think I think we're really going through the biggest wealth transfer we've ever seen.
Yeah.
I think the number is $3 or $4 trillion of wealth moves to the next generation every year. And so if you think of that in terms of an AUM basis, you know, a normal advisor charges 1%. That's a lot of revenue out there, a lot of revenue potential. And I think the problem is no one knows how to get in front of that next of kin. And a lot of advisors nowadays actually they lose business from an inheritance event. They're not close to the family or the kids, and a lot of times those kids have a better relationship to Robinhood and Coinbase than they do to their advisor. So
that's great.
I think one is, you know, our platform, you know, helping advisors kind of know of events going on within their book of business and kind of monitoring that side. But on the inheritance side, it's you know, these are the next generation of people who are going to be inheriting sizable wealth. The number one thing you should be doing is getting your brand in front of them. You know, they might not be converting today, but over time they're going to need to do something with that $1 million that comes in. You know, you can't put that in Robinhood, or you know, you got to be financially sound. So we see the biggest kind of money movement and what a life event is generating the most amount of dollars potential revenue for advisors is the inheritance.
What's the data you guys pull for that? Because I bet you that would be really good in real estate too, honestly.
Yeah, so we do that on the real estate side as well. So we're pulling, kind of aggregating obituaries, finding out who's passing away, and then building that family tree, saying, hey, is there a spouse? Who are the kids? And then kind of enriching everyone in the family, saying, hey, you know, Bob Smith passed away. What's his net worth? What property did he own? Hey, he owned $1 million property out in Los Angeles. There's no mortgage on it. Hey, no spouse, one kid. You know, that kid's going to inherit that $1 million property, a lot of equity, probably going to sell it. And so there's that $1 million inheritance, and that's just on the real estate side. You know,
did you guys get through like so a lot of the times I'm noticing like multifamily and stuff like that's inherited is in like a trust or an LLC. Like, can you guys sift through that data? Do you have a way of getting, you know, backtracking and seeing next of kin and who owned it and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so we do see even on the trust side. On the LLC side, we're working on it. There's like an extra step. You kind of have to back into, you know, who owns 123 Main Street LLC sort of thing. But on the trust side, we are right now.
Okay, sweet, man. Yeah, I can't wait to talk more about that.
Yeah, because we went to a conference, the KW Wealth, and they talked about this being like one of the biggest times for wealth being transferred. Yeah. And obviously with houses being a part of it.
And Grant Cardone.
You've got to invest in a certain something, right? You're gonna have all this money and just sitting there, and a great way to do that is houses. So we've heard the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing to add, I think my generation who kind of inheriting properties, we don't want to be owners. Like we're mostly renters. And I think we're seeing that in terms of the volume of transactions happening. As you know, if I would inherit a property with equity in it, I'm transacting it because I don't want the headaches of owners. And I think our generation, the younger, is just more renter heavy. And so when they do inherit a property, you know, it's a 50-60% chance they're going to end up selling it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, we need to talk about that, man. That would be awesome. This is our guy. This is our guy right here, Luke, for multifamily.
Exactly.
We can figure out a way.
I don't know if you'll be able to parse through. The problem is once you find the person who represents the LLC, oftentimes it's the attorney. So that's going to be the pain point there. I'm not sure. Like, it will be interesting to see what you guys run into cracking that code. If you can crack that, that's freaking amazing. If you could crack
then we have another business.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna work for you guys and sell that business.
The software you guys have built is fantastic. I know we did a webinar recently, Rylan, where you showed it off, and really well designed, super easy to read and follow. How much? Like, what are the subscriptions? Kind of explain how does the subscription work? What do you get with it?
Yeah, so part of the WealthFeed, our financial advising part of the business, it's $149 a month. And like Sam said, we try to democratize big data. You know, there's a lot of data subscriptions that, you know, an advisor could engage with, but these are $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a year contracts. And so our kind of thesis and said, hey, what about that single advisor starting up? Like, he can't afford that data feed. And so WealthFeed's kind of there to democratize that from a price point at $149, and then once at an access point as well. And so with that, we kind of have three main features. The Discover is kind of the list building side of it, but we also have Enrich and Monitor, which I think we're seeing a lot of success because it's not necessarily about just prospecting, but it's also about your current client base. And I think you guys know this as well. It's a lot of new clients come from your current client base in terms of referrals, but you also lose a lot of clients if you're not engaging at the right time.
Yes.
Our platform, hey, you could upload all your prospects or clients, and we'll actually notify you when they go through a life event. So maybe it's that, $50,000 IRA account that you have for someone, but he inherits $2 million. And if you only meet with them once a year, once every 2 years, you're going to miss that opportunity. He's going to be like, hey, my advisor doesn't talk to me. I'm going to go with someone else. So it's all about being there at the right time, at the right place, especially within your own clients when they're going through a life event.
No, that's fantastic. Which, talking about enriching data, leads us directly into
Sales strategy
our
of the
sales
week.
strategy of the week.
Boom. Welcome to the game show, Sales Strategy of the Week. No, just kidding.
Spin the wheel. What's it going to land on?
Exactly. Your sales strategy of the week, though, is enriching your data right now, your database, to figure out on the real estate side who's likely to move. On the advisor side, life events that are happening that should cause you to reach out because you might have more AUM potential, or you just secure the client from getting an ACAT where you have that asset, transfer out. So if you need a likely to move algorithm, you can, if you're a client of Reminder Media, just log into your system. We have one in there for you. Any name you upload, it will scan it and tell you who's likely to move. And if you need to enrich data, go check out WealthFeed or Catalyzed AI because they will help you enrich your data. And these guys, we've used them. We've recommended them to clients. They're phenomenal. But here's the key strategy, or here's the key tactic in that strategy. So you enrich your data, and then you have to pick up the phone and either text them, shoot a video message, or call them. So if you see Steven is on your list is likely to move, don't just go, oh, that's nice, Steven is likely to move. Pick up the phone and go, Steven, was thinking about you today, man. And man, we haven't caught up in a while. Just wanted to touch base, see how you're doing. How's life been for you? How's your work been? And you know what Steven's going to do? Steven's going to immediately turn around. Oh, life's been good. How about you, Luke? How's your life been? How's your work been? Oh, it's a really interesting market right now. So many people are asking me what their home's worth. It's crazy. Equity's gone up 20K. In fact, I haven't looked recently. Have you looked at your Zestimate on Zillow? I know a lot of times those can't be accurate, but have you ever looked at your Zestimate, Steven, lately? Because I can get you a free CMA of what your home's worth. And it's just an easy combo. And if you do that to all the people that are likely to move, you're going to find somebody on your list that has a money in motion event happening that you can capitalize on. And it's simple, but people just don't do it. And the reason why I say this with a little bit of sarcasm or jest is we literally provide this for free for our 60,000 plus clients. And we still have clients who are getting it for free that aren't doing it. I'm like, what is wrong with
Steven,
you?
what's
and
been,
I love my clients.
Let's get real kind of feedback here on it. What's been your experience going through the data? Because you have almost your, definitely your
it's
entire
all about
database.
data. So the cool part is the data is to help you call the right people. So it's no longer cold calling in the sense of like you're just calling someone out of the blue. You have no
So cold calling is dead. We're taking this full circle. Cold calling is dead.
I mean, if you want to look at it that way, it is
calling.
kind of true. You know what I mean? Like, so you should be using these platforms to get the data because they're going to give you more people that are likely to move, right? But then you have to reach out and you have to understand the pain points, right? Which people want to make money. That's why I keep coming back to it. I love that because I want to make money. Rylan wants to make money. Sam wants to make money, and so on and so forth. So it's just an easy conversation. And if you catch the person in that cycle, like Luke, you mentioned 14 months, right? But if we have the right data on the people that we're calling, that might be a 6-month lead. That might be a 3-month lead. And so it just makes it easier to get in front of the people that you need to talk to. The targeted follow-up has been fantastic, and it's super accurate because like you also, the people that are in the 90s, score on Reminder Media, most likely they've already moved. right? So we noticed that, like, we're working with clients and they're on there, and then you go beneath that, and the people in the 70s and 80s, right? Those are the people that are super, you need to be in touch with them.
So Stephen and Cody, I know you guys have done over 160 deals this year. Probably by the end of the year, about 50% of your transactions will be referral and repeat business. You can't get referrals if you don't keep in touch with your clients. I know we're providing about 200 touch points for you right now, actually, to your database. Can you talk a little bit about kind of your experience there?
Yeah, I mean, we love it. Honestly, we love it because it's omni-channel. Like, we're everywhere. And obviously the important piece is for people to know your brand, to know who you are. And so everything's automated for us. You guys do social for us, right? Email for us. And then, the best part obviously is the Reminder Media magazine, because it looks professional. It's authentic. It's got our brand on it, right? It's got my face in front of people constantly. And it just gives another vantage point of just professionalism in front of the client. So just even the other day, for instance, I had a lake house. I had a lady call me and wanted to list her $1.2 million lake house. Right. And, one of her comments was, actually, this thing just looks so professional. I was in marketing, right? I know you spend a lot of money on it. Obviously, we don't spend that much money on it. And so it's golden, being in front of clients.
Hey, Stay Paid listeners, if you like what you heard there about Stephen's Touchpoint calendar and you want a copy for yourself, click the link in the description and we are going to send one to you for free.
Are you guys going to add a likely to move score to your catalyzed AI, Sam and Rylan, or no?
I don't think so on the real estate side, Luke. Okay. We probably should, to be honest. But on the WealthFeed side, the likely to move for us is that real-time notification of, hey, your prospect or client just inherited money.
Okay.
Reach out to them today.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to talk to you because we work with a company, Constellation, that provides that data for us. I've mentioned that to you guys before. But it'd be interesting because you guys have such good data that, I love what you guys do because the inheritance alone, I think, is worth it. Because the best real estate deals that Stephen and I have ever done on the investing side has come from inheritance deals mostly. So I think that is absolute gold. But the enriching of the data too, of like, this is where they went to college, this is, what their political affiliation is. I don't know if you guys provide that or not, but these are the things about them. That is critical because if you think about Josh Steich on your list, if you know Josh's family, occupation, recreation, dreams, then you probably have a decent relationship with them. So in order to get that family, occupation, recreation, dreams, you just need to have a conversation with them because conversations build relationships. When you call up and have that conversation, utilizing your system to basically enhance your conversation to double down on that, I think is fantastic.
Awesome. Sam, Rylan, thanks so much for coming on today. Before we close out, let people know how they can try WealthFeed or connect with you guys.
Yeah, Josh, Luke, is a pleasure. Feel free. Anyone could go to our website, it's wealthfeed.com. They could obviously book a one-on-one demo and get more information. So excited, great pod, and thanks for having us on.
Awesome. Cody, Stephen, great to see you guys as always.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you all so much for listening. You can dive deeper into this episode to get the show notes, the video, everything you want over at staypaidpodcast.com. We've got links to all of our socials there as well, including our YouTube channel. Make sure to go subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow along there as well. If you enjoyed this podcast, I want to show your support. Head on over to Apple Podcast. As I mentioned before, drop us a 5-star review. We'll read it here on the show. And the best way to support the show is simply share this episode with someone that you know. If you want to get hold of me or Luke, you can email us at podcast@remindermedia.com. Or you can connect with us on Instagram. We're at Stay Paid Podcast. For this episode of Stay Paid, I'm Joshua Steich.
Guys, I'm Luke Acree. What a great pod. That's what we're going to call it from now on. The pod. What a great pod. Hey, cold calling is dead, but cold calling with targeted data is not. So there you go. Your action item for the podcast is simple. Go and enrich your data. You can do it for, what'd you say, Rylan, $149?
Yep.
Yeah, get out of here. $149. You can go enrich your data for $149 and go do that and then make that phone call. At the very least, if you're not going to spend $149 to enrich your data, which I think would be crazy if you didn't, but go and make those phone calls and enrich your own data. Call Sam up, your client, and find out about his family, occupation, recreation dreams. You will find deals within your database today. If you do that, remember the difference between top producers and mediocre producers in every industry is top producers take action. Take action on that today.